Wires are just the worst. Like, look at this. This is my daily setup and it is pretty unacceptable when it comes to cable management. While the product I am reviewing today won't solve this problem, it definitely can go a long way towards that solution. Today I will be reviewing my personal set of headphones. This is the Corsair HS70 wireless headphones, so I'm going to go into what I do like about them, what I don't like about them, and also the problems that I've had since I've had these headphones for about 6 months. So I am Talon, the Tech Merc, and let's get right into this review. To start, I personally really like the look of the Corsair HS70s. They have a pretty simple design and doesn't scream gamer like a lot of gaming headphones or headsets do, which is something that I thoroughly appreciate. Having a removable microphone also helps with the appeal. You can just unplug that guy and you have a pretty normal looking pair of headphones that I really wouldn't be afraid to go out in public with. The downside of that is that these don't have any Bluetooth connectivity, so connecting them to your phone with a USB receiver is quite an inconvenience, as you would need an adapter. However, that's something that kind of doesn't bother me too much because I don't use headphones in public anyways. The headband has enough padding to make it comfortable, as well as it having quite a bit of adjustability. You can move the ear cups up and down, and they have a little bit of pivot and swivel as well to get the right fit, although it could use a little bit more adjustability. Taking a look at the ear cups, we have a fake leather looking material that is quite comfortable and pretty thick. They have a really nice seal around the edge, almost too good in some cases, as it makes it difficult to hear outside noises if that is something you're concerned with. The ear pads are not replaceable, but with how well they have held up over the last little while and how much treatment or poor treatment that I have given them, I would say that this isn't too big of a concern for me, though it would be nice. I will say the very first thing that I noticed when putting these on was my ears actually touch the inside of the driver, so that was a little bit of uncomfortability there in the beginning, but after a little bit of use I got used to it, and it's not something that bothers me anymore, but I certainly understand how it can bother a lot of people even after prolonged use. On the topic of drivers, the sound quality is quite good. Obviously these aren't geared towards studio quality sound or anything like that, and I truly haven't experienced audiophile sound, so take what I'm saying with a bit of a grain of salt. Regardless, these sound far better than the two other headsets I have reviewed, being the HyperX Cloud Stingers and the Turtle Beach PX22s, which is to be expected as these come in at about $50 more than the HyperX. The bass isn't muddled or overpowering, and the highs are just fine, and the mids are just fine as well. This is, however, on the bass EQ setting, and you can change the EQ settings of these headphones in the IQ software, which is Corsair's software. They have several built-in ones for you if you want to use those, or you can create your own. Personally, this isn't something that I really use just because I have no need for it. They sound fine how I have them set up right now. But yeah, that option is there for you. Of course, with being wireless, you get the expected background hiss when no sound is being sent to them. But really, this isn't, again, something that bothered me because I usually always have sound coming, and when I don't, it just wasn't something I really noticed unless I was really thinking about it. The HS70s also have a 7.1 surround sound feature, which is something I personally am really not a fan of. I'm really anti 7.1. I mean, I don't care if it is a feature, but it's just something I really don't use because I don't find it to sound better at all. The intention is to create a bit of a wider soundstage, which I personally am not a fan of in the first place. But the name suggests that you'll get a lot more of a surround sound, and while you do, it also kind of sounds like you're underwater or the sound is coming from very far away. So this really isn't something that I like at all. Personally, I just find it to distract from my listening experience, whether it be music or from games or from listening to someone talk or anything like that. It just makes everything sound less clear, and it's really annoying to me. Overall, the 7.1 surround sound side, the sound quality on these are actually quite good, especially for being wireless and around $100. I have no complaints in this category as far as just the sheer quality of sound goes.
So moving on to the topic of microphone quality. To quote one of my friends, I can hear you clearly enough, which basically sums up this microphone. What you're hearing right now is in fact this microphone. As you can tell, it isn't the best in the world, and it does have a heavy compression on it to keep out background noise. It also has that characteristic nasally sound that comes with most gaming headsets. I wouldn't recommend streaming or filming with this as your mic, but for gaming sessions and Discord chats, it does its job. Overall, it's not great, but it is passable.
The battery life is also surprisingly good. Going into buying these, I was expecting to have to charge them every 3 to 4 hours. I listened and boy was I really surprised. I haven't calculated exactly, but I'm charging them about every 5 to 6 hours, which is more than I was expecting, which is something that was really nice. This of course is assuming continuous use, and this will change obviously with variables like volume and continuous use as I just mentioned. Even when I do run into a low battery situation, a robot voice tells me, hey, you've got a low battery well in advance, so I have enough time to figure out my charging situation, whether I be in the middle of something or anything like that. So it definitely tells you. And also when you get lower, it will start beeping at you when it gets really close to that level of cutoff, when it will automatically shut off, which is another feature that I really enjoy. Is if no sound goes into it, you can set how long it will take for them to automatically shut off to conserve battery life, which is a feature I really enjoy. I would have liked to see a feature where it really gives us a percentage bar, a very accurate percentage bar in the IQ software. However, that's really not too big of a deal to me. So part of the reason behind this good battery life is the lack of RGB. While it doesn't look quite as gamer as other headphones do, it definitely saves battery life and doesn't have to have as large of a battery because it's not powering any lights or extra fancy features or anything like that. So it doesn't have to dedicate resources to that. Regardless of how long the battery life is, it does charge fairly fast over USB port. It is a micro USB port, which kind of is a bummer, but it makes sense. One feature I really am looking forward to in a lot of 2018 products is Type-C on smaller products like headphones, like mice, things like that. So that's one thing I'm really expecting to see next year. But overall, the battery life on these are definitely better than I thought and more than passable. The experience up to this point in the review has been really good. I really enjoy these headphones, but they are far from perfect. I will occasionally get a pairing issue where upon turning the headset on, it will not connect. I often have to unplug the USB receiver and plug it back into sometimes a different port, or to cycle the power again on my headphones to get it to properly connect. Also, it doesn't always properly connect unless you have the IQ software open, so that software is a requirement, which is a real shame. I really would have liked these to be plug and play as much as they could be, with the option of software if you want those extra features. The range on these is fair, but it's not great. I mean, it gets me to the bathroom and back, which is basically all you really want from wireless headphones. I can walk around the room where my computer is. I can let the dog out. So overall, it's not exceptional, but because of my circumstances, something that I don't have to deal with too much. The lack of controls, physical buttons on the headphones is also something that I'm a little bit disappointed in. I know there doesn't really need to be a whole lot there, but all we have is a mute button, a power button, the USB port, and a volume slider. While I know that it keeps things kind of less busy, I also would have liked to see maybe a switcher between EQ settings or something like that, just to add a little bit more functionality to that. However, it doesn't bother me too much. I just would have really liked to see some extra features there if they're going to not have things like RGB. In conclusion, these are the best headphones I have used. I do, however, have a limited frame of reference. The sound quality for $100 and being wireless is quite good, kind of surprised by that. The battery lasts longer than I expected. The mic is good, if nothing remarkable, and most importantly, they are quite comfortable despite my issue with my ears hitting the inside of the drivers. It isn't perfect though, considering my connection issues and my ears constantly touching the inside of the drivers, as I just mentioned. It hasn't been a flawless experience. However, I really do enjoy having wireless headphones and being able to have a little bit of that freedom despite the range not being remarkable. I don't recommend spending $100 on these. If you don't care about the wireless aspect, you can definitely find a better pair of headphones for $100 if you don't care about the wireless aspect. However, that is something that is valuable to me, and it's something that I kind of use and utilize a lot. So it's worth it to me. Also, I would recommend picking these up if they're on sale at any point. They are really, really good. And Corsair is a very reputable brand. They have warranty. They've got all of that stuff. So that about does it for this review. If you guys have any questions or your experience with these, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below, and I will be down there answering questions or just chatting with you guys about your experience. Also, please consider subscribing for more content and leaving a like on this video. Without further ado, I'm Talon, the Tech Merc, and I'll see you guys around.